Hi ladies, this tutorial is going to show you how to copy and paste your pie pieces to fill up your circle and how to fill your background with a color. So what you want to do is you should have your pie piece in your circle layer, and what you want to do is make sure you have your pie piece layer selected and then go down here to create new layer, and you'll want to create layers just like you have here, but you want to label them 2 through 7. So you double click on the text that says layer, you write 2, double click here, 3, double click 4, and so on until you have all these new layers. And since I already had done some of these, I'm going to delete them. Delete. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You want to make sure before you start to copy and paste that your one pie piece is exactly how you want it. So make sure that all your details are done, make sure that your objects are all closed and filled in, and make sure that you've aligned it to the edges of your pie piece or your circle template to make sure it all fits exactly how it should. The next thing you want to do is make sure that it's grouped together. You don't want to make a selection and realize that some of your objects aren't moving. So if you go to Object, and my group is shaded out, so that means it is grouped together. That's what I want to do. So what I can do now is I'm going to start to copy and paste it and fill it in all the way around. I'm going to go in order, so that way if later I have to fix something, I know where all my pie pieces are located. So with it selected, I do Command C, and now I'm going to lock this layer. I'm going to go to pie piece or layer number 2 and hit Command V for paste. And you'll see the selection color is different. I have red, I have blue, now I have orange. So my selection color will be orange for here. And now what I want to try and do is just take my time and put it into the pie piece. It should be fixed from all my work before, so it should be pretty easy to line everything up. It should be the right size. You definitely at this point do not want to change the size of anything. You just want to rotate your pie piece around to make sure it fits. If you change the size, you're going to give yourself a lot of trouble down the road. So make sure you're careful with how you select your work so you're not accidentally changing the size of anything. I'm going to angle it a little bit and keep zooming in, moving it up until it's where it needs to be. And it gets really close to the edge on this side, but then has some room over here, so this looks about right. And then I want to take this one, I want to do Command C, lock this layer, go on to layer 3, do Command V for paste, and this is now green. I'm going to come over here, rotate this guy around, and I'll keep doing this until I have my whole circle completed. Hopefully this part is going quickly for you because all your anchor points are lined up. It looks like it can move a little bit. There's a little bit of a gap right there. And you'll just be doing this the whole way around. So the next again step, you do Command C for copy, lock your layer, go to your next layer, do Command V. It's really important that all your previous layers are locked because you don't want to accidentally click on one of them and change anything. Since you're zooming in so often, if you are zoomed in and don't realize that something got changed, then you can't do Command Z to undo it because you will undo all your other work as well. So for that reason, you don't want to accidentally have a layer unlocked and then hit it and delete a whole bunch of your work. That'd be a bummer. I mean, you could fix it. It's not the end of the world. But if you can avoid it by being careful, then you want to avoid it. You just keep zooming in, going out. And I'm having some gaps here, so I can either go back and fix them later. There's also, if you have some gaps that you can just tell won't be able to get fixed, I'll show you in a second how to handle those. angle this guy a little bit and move him up. And I'm trying to do this quickly because it's really boring just to watch me do this silently. So you guys can take way more time. Lock you and unlock layer 3 because he could be fixed a little bit. Okay, and then lock layer 3 back up. So you want to do this all the way around. I do suggest that you go in order because it's a little bit easier. And I do suggest that you lock all your previous layers that you're not working on. So what eventually will happen is you'll get something like this. Now one thing that's happening here, once you have all your layers done, if there's one thing you had to do, say you had something that connected between all your pie pieces, where you didn't want a line to show. For instance, down here, I maybe didn't want this black line in my waves to show up. So what you can do after all your pie pieces are in and done is you can go to your paintbrush tool. You can select the color you need to if you need to clean up anything. And let's do, these are all locked so I can unlock them. Only unlock them when you're sure you can do no harm to them. Go to a new layer, and this would be called paint layer. So you make sure you're at your very top so you're above everything else. And then you can just go over any lines that you want to delete and paint over them with a paintbrush. You can also, so say I want to delete this one too, I'll do I for eyedropper, get this blue color, then B for paintbrush, and make sure the paintbrush is really small, and cover up there. So if you had a mountain range that you wanted to continue when I said we'd fix it later, this is what I meant. You can now go through all the areas that are touching, you can paint on top of them and make them look like they're seamless. So you can do that at this stage once your whole pie piece is done. So let's pretend that your whole pie piece is all completed. And at the very bottom, you should have your circle template. So here I have my paint layer, I have all my pie pieces. The bottom, I have a circle. And the way you're going to work your circle is that you select it. Now mine is obviously made into a gradient already, but you will have probably a see-through fill here. Let's make this, let's make that see-through. And to fill this with a gradient, what I can do is go to Window, go to Gradient, and see how it's on a grayscale? So if I click on this scale of colors, on this value scale, it's only on gray. The way to fix that is to go to your options here. Oops, sorry. Double click on this bar. Double click on that guy. Sorry. So you want to double click on this little icon filled with black or white, one of those two ones. You want to make sure you're on color. You want to go to CMYK. And click anywhere on the scale. Let's go back to, I think I had really dark purple or blue. That looks good. And then let's pick another color. Let's have it fade to, and this is when that little bug is picking up, so I have to make everything from grayscale to CMYK. Let's do some kind of light pink. And also, if you can either click here, or you can change your scales here and see how the color changes. This is the color that you're looking to change. So once you have your colors picked generally, you can always add more. See how I have a plus icon right next to my mouse? My white arrow has a plus icon. I just keep clicking and I can add more. So I have too many, I can just click it and highlight it. When it's white, it's highlighted. And I can hit delete. So I want a radial gradient. I do not want linear. Linear means it's going from one side to another. I want to go from inside out. So for that reason, I'm going to go to radial. And that's how you make a gradient. You can add more colors. You can try to have a lot or a little. You can do a solid. If you do a solid, all you have to do is go over here and pick a color. Oh, that one actually, because I have the gradient open and made it a gradient. That's kind of fun though. So that's how you do your circle fill. Play around with it, see all the options that work, see what you think is looking best. You can see my pink isn't even visible anymore, so I'm going to move it up here on my line so you can see it a little bit more. Although I'm not sure that actually looks good. So play around with your colors, and once you have your background color all figured out, then you are all done with this project. You're just going to print it in the on the Epson printer, and you're going to upload it to Canvas. And congratulations on being done with your personal mandala. I cannot wait to see them.